on this beautiful sunny day. This is to rebalance us, but very, very gently. So we're going to start by side to side. Rebalancing all our energies, our 5 energies. Balancing the pelvis, which will aid us when we're walking in later life and falling over. And the 5 energies moving through the body represents health in the Eastern philosophy, because stagnation and non-movement is not health. And you need to move to get the lymph moving, which boosts your immune system. So all in all, this is just such a brilliant movement. You can increase it by just slightly coming to the shoulders and then just come to slow down. And then come to the centre. Bring your feet perhaps slightly to hip width apart and press your feet into the ground. You lift all your toes and then press the toes down, emphasising the big toe and the little toe, which will spread out the other toes, and then just release and relax, but still keeping that feeling that you're pushing the earth away from you. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then breathing in, raise the right arm. Press your feet into the ground and extend the arm. And breathing out, turn your head to the left. And stay here for an in and an out breath. And when you're ready, bring your head back to the centre. And breathing out, lower your right arm. Breathing in, raise your left arm. Stretch up. Breathing out, when you're ready, turn your head to the right. It can be a little bit or a lot. Stay here for an in and an out breath. And breathing in, bring your head to the centre. And breathing out, lower your left arm back down alongside you as you lift and roll your shoulders. Breathing in, raise both arms, clasping them and reversing the palms. Stretch up again, pressing the feet into the ground. Breathing out laterally, I'm going to the left. Breathing in, when you're ready, coming to the centre, and breathing out laterally, go to the right. Feel that you're between 2 panes of glass. Breathe in, come to the centre. Breathe out, turning to the left, a little bit or a lot. Breathe in, come to the centre, and as you breathe out, turn to the right. Breathing in, come to the centre. Stretch up, almost to a back bend, and if your neck allows, look up to your hands. And then bring your head back to the centre and just try lifting your heels. And then breathing out, lower your heels to the ground and lower your arms to shoulder height. Breathing out, turn to look beyond your 3rd finger. Breathe in, come to the centre, and breathing out, turn to look beyond the 3rd finger of your other hand. Come to the centre, lower your arms, and then lift and roll your shoulders again. And then breathing out, slide your hands down your legs so that they're onto your shins. Press your hands into your shins to lengthen, half lifting from your tailbone to the top of the head. Breathe out, bend your knees and bend your elbows to curl in a little bit. Breathe in, press your hands into your shins. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, bend your knees, press your feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And then lifting and rolling your shoulders. Raising your arms, stretch your fingers up. Look up if that's okay for your neck. And breathing out, lower your hands back down alongside you. Lifting and rolling your shoulders. And then opening your arms. Breathing out, hug. Bending slightly forward and then just slightly turn from side to side. So you're opening the upper part of your back, the thoracic area, almost between your shoulder blades. And the chin to the chest here is calming to the nervous system. Press your feet down as you come back up to standing and open your arms again. If you can remember which arm came on top, it's the other arm. Doesn't matter if you get it wrong or forget, there's no wrong. Side to side as you sway from side to side. And then breathing in, opening the arms. Turn the palms up and almost the little fingers back behind you. And then turn the palms down, thumbs aiming to the ground. And then release the arms, lifting and roll the shoulders. Raise the right arm and circle your wrists in one direction. And then reverse that direction. I've been speaking to a lot of people who've got stiffness at the moment, including me. And then just open your fingers and curl them in. Open them out and curl them in, and then lower your right arm. Lift and roll your shoulders. This constant lifting and rolling your shoulders sets the energy to allow it to travel up into the head and has many benefits. We often close that up. So raising the left arm, circling the wrists in one direction, and then very gently reversing that direction. And stretching the fingers out, curling them in, and stretching them out, curling them in, and then lowering your hands, lifting and rolling your shoulders. So imagine you've got a ball and you're holding your big beach ball. You might like your feet a little bit wider to hip width apart. And leading with the top elbow, go to one side. You can lift your heel. And then turn over your hands, leading with the other elbow. This strange exercise as you go from side to side is slowing everything down. It's coordinating your movement with your breath, but also your head is turning from side to side, so it becomes a mindfulness exercise. It's hard to carry thoughts with you when you've got a constantly moving scene in front of you. Too fast and it might make you feel very dizzy, but this is a really gentle, low movement. And then come to the centre and lower your arms. Breathing in, turn your head to the left. Breathing out, turn your head to the right. In to the left and out to the right. In to the left and out to the right. Bring your head back to the centre and then chin comes to the chest. Move your chin up to the right shoulder. Breathing out like a pendulum, drop your chin forward and move your chin towards the left shoulder. Again, dropping your chin to the centre and then to the other side. Bring your chin to the centre and then gently just place a hand on your chest, almost pressing on your chest to gently lift your head up. But just make sure that the ascent of the head is very, very gentle. And then this weird, crazy exercise of thumping or touching the K27 point just below your collarbones and slightly in the dip under your collarbones. Just tap or thump, whichever you want. So this is an acupressure meridian point and is meant to revitalise our entire energy. I think the kidney energy signifies our essence or our vitality, if I got that right, Sue. Yeah, so this is meant to be a weird, but it's part of EFT as well, which is emotional freedom technique, but you find it in energy medicine, but you'll find the roots in the Eastern philosophy. There are a few other points that you might touch, but this is a fairly main one, boosting your whole system and revitalising your energy. And then just very, very gently lower your hands, lift and roll your shoulders, circling your hands up, palms touch, stretching up, breathing out, bend your knees and bring your hands back down through the centre, either touching the floor or touching your shins. Breathing in, lengthen along from the tailbone to the top of your head, so it's a half lift, flat back. Breathing out, bend your knees, elbows out. And then pressing your feet down, rolling up vertebra by vertebra to standing again. And then hands up, circling, palms touch. Bring your hands through the centre as you roll down, choosing either to place your hands on the shins or on the floor, wherever you choose. Lengthen your back from the tailbone to the top of the head. You can still keep your knees soft or bent. Breathe out, bend your knees and bend your elbows. And when you breathe in, press your feet down as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. And one last time as we raise our arms upwards, palms together, bring the palms through the centre, choosing where you'd like to place them, either on your shins or on the floor. Lifting up, flat back, breathing out, bending the knees. And when you next breathe in, press your feet into the ground to roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lift and roll your shoulders. Bring your palms together at the heart centre. Press the palms together. You're toning under your arms, but you're also activating on the little finger side some other energy meridians. And before we come to the ground, just roll the hands. I don't know if you can see me. Just palms up. Yeah, that's it. So again, this comes onto the wrists and the backs of the hands that can get stiff. You can stay with this movement or you can reverse it. And then very, very gently bring your hands down and come to lying on the floor. Both of us are creaking here. And so start with the knees bent and lying on the floor, your feet are hip width apart. You can lift your bottom to just settle in. Hands can be palms down alongside you or resting on the abdomen. And your feet can be either hip width apart or a little bit wider. And just start with a very familiar swaying of the knees from side to side. You can choose to just keep it to your knees, or you can choose to move your head. And it doesn't matter whether your head moves in the direction of the knees or moves away from the direction of your knees. Your hips are lifting as you sway from side to side. And the wider you have your feet, the more the knee can drop to the centre. So particularly massaging across your top of your bottom, the lower part of your back, it kind of allows all the stiffness to start to settle out of the body almost. And come to the centre. You can keep your feet where they are or just bring them slightly to hip width apart. And then bending your elbows, clasp your hands, palms clasped underneath your head. So the palms are holding your head, and open your elbows. And then just very gently, just do a couple of pelvic tilts, so flattening the back to the ground and then arching the back. Just check that your neck's relaxed and your hands can almost lengthen the back of the neck, which might mean bending your elbows in a little bit, that's fine. And then engaging the core, flatten your back, and as you breathe out, lift your supported head upwards a little bit. When your tummy starts to dome, then you've gone far enough. You're not going to go very far, and then just relaxing your head back onto the ground. And just come to a pelvic tilt a couple of times. And then once more breathe out as you lift your head. Your elbows can come in slightly. Once the tummy domes, you've gone far enough. In my case, I'm hardly off the ground. And then just come back down to the earth. It's just engaging the core, a couple of pelvic tilts, very, very safely. And last time, pressing the back into the ground as you raise your head, only as far as feels comfortable for you, and then breathing out, just relaxing your head back down to the ground. In fact, you'd be breathing in. And then gently breathing, just do a couple of pelvic tilts. And then very gently lifting your head up, but turning your elbow, your right elbow towards the left knee. You're hardly going to lift up very much, just a slight twist, and then come back down to the ground. A pelvic tilt just to neutralise that. And when you next breathe out, lifting your head again and bringing the left elbow slightly in the direction of towards the right knee. Again, they're miles apart. If you're super involved, you could actually bend your right knee off the ground as they touch. That's a superhuman effort. And then just come back down again. And once more in your own time to each side, coming up as little or as much as you would like. And you can lift your foot off the ground so that the elbow and the knee sort of meet. Pelvic tilt is optional between times, and then coming up to the other side. And then release your head, release your hands back down either alongside you or onto your abdomen. And once more, just let the knees drop from side to side. Your feet can be wherever they're comfortable. And then coming to adjust your feet to however they're comfortable, keep the right foot on the floor and hug the left knee to the chest. So again, here we've got an option to either keep the right knee bent or to extend the right leg along the ground. It's your choice, you're just hugging the knee into the chest. So when we sway from side to side, we're moving all 5 energies. And this particular pose focuses on just mainly one energy, the foundational of those 5 energies, which is called Apana. And this pose in Sanskrit is called Aphanasana, head to knee pose. And then just very gently holding your left knee in your hand, circle your knee a few times in one direction, moving the top of the leg in the hip socket, any stiffness, and then just very gently circling your left knee in the other direction. And then dropping your hands underneath your thighs, holding your left thigh, begin to extend your left leg up to the ceiling. At any point you can bend your right knee if you'd like to have your right foot on the floor, and point and flex your left heel a couple of times. And then very gently begin to circle the left ankle in one direction. And then circle the left ankle in the other direction. And then optionally walk your hands up the back of your left leg. How far you go is entirely up to you. It could be anywhere. And then very gently bend your left knee, hugging the left knee into the chest. And place the left foot on the floor, sliding the left foot out on the floor. And then bend the right knee, hugging the right knee into the chest, changing sides. So your left knee can be bent or it can be straight along the floor. Aphanasana on the right side. And generally people who are right-handed, if they're going to get stiffness, is more often, but not always, on the right side. So in therapy, you spend slightly longer on your inverted commas bad side. So just gently circle your right knee a few times in one direction. Moving the top of the leg in the hip socket. It's a small move. It can be wider, it can be a big circle, or it can be tiny. And then, of course, we're going to reverse that circle. Noticing in the circle where you miss. I notice that I don't fully circle on my right leg. I miss a gap. My circle is just cut flat at one point. So it's a note to self, but to all of us, that this is a perfect hip exercise and very safe. There's no weight on the hip. It's just free to move however works for you. And then dropping your hands, clasping behind the right thigh, to very gently extend the right foot up to the ceiling. And point and flex the right foot a couple of times. Extending the back of the leg, the Achilles heel. And then begin to circle the right ankle in one direction. And then begin to circle the ankle in the other direction. And then optionally, you can walk your hands up the back of your right leg, bringing the right leg towards your face. You can opt to bend your left knee, left foot on the floor. If you were a perfectionist, you would extend your left heel so that the left leg's on the floor, which I find impossible, but it's just extending the right leg. And then very, very gently bend the right leg in, the right knee into your chest. And this time let the left knee join, so you're hugging both knees into the chest. And just hold slightly below your knees as you just slightly rock from side to side. And when I say rock, you can rock right over onto one elbow and use the back of the top of the arm to lift you up to roll to the other side. But a little rock or a big rock is absolutely fine. It's just getting into the lower back. And then hugging both knees into the chest. Let both knees drift away to arm's length. Hug both knees into the chest. And let both knees drift away. And carry on doing this, hugging in and letting the arms drift away a few more times to your own breath pattern, just letting the movement massage across the lower back. It really does pulse along the lower back. But just because it's the lower back, it actually impacts the whole body. And then just very gently support your legs if you need to place one foot and then the other foot on the ground. And then gently roll to the side or rock up. We're going to be coming onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. But take your time. Particularly, Julie's being very good. I was just going to say, in this hot weather, we can dehydrate, and it's dehydration that causes so many problems, which I've come into. A massive headache this morning. I've had masses to drink.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, oh dear,
It's the weather as well.
So coming onto the hands and knees, and coming into what I call the classic cat-cow. So knees are hip width apart, hands are shoulder width apart. Dipping the back, looking up and rounding, chin to chest. And we're going to do that a few times. So often we just do 2 or 3, but really taking the time to round the back, the chin comes to the chest. You can initiate the movement from the tailbone or from the centre of the back, whatever works for you. Take time to really curl your back, rounding it. It has the heart parallel to the ground. And so for anybody who's had heart concerns or whatever, it's a very restful position for the heart. Because the heart is parallel to the ground, and so the blood runs in a parallel line. The heart hasn't got very much hard work to do to pump the blood up to the head. It's part of the job that's being done for it, just in the position that you're in. And then come to neutral, so you're flat back, and slide your right foot back, tucking your right toes under, your right leg's lifted off the ground, and just turn your head from side to side to look over your right shoulder, and then to look over your left shoulder. And then bring your right knee back down to the ground. Just sway your bottom from side to side. And explore, as your bottom goes to the right, your head might turn to one side or the other. Again, imagine that you're looking down on top of a fish. You know how a fish swims? through the water, it kind of almost twists its body. And then gently coming back to the centre and sliding your left leg back, tucking the left toes under. Your left leg's off the ground. And then again, turn your head to the right and to the left. How far you turn is up to you to look over each shoulder. A little bit or a lot. And then coming back to the centre. Dipping back into cat-cow. And come to neutral. Keep your bottom in the air. Have your elbows on the ground and make two fists with your hands one on top of the other. Adjust your elbows to however it works for you and just rest your head on your fists. Your elbows are slightly out to the side. Again, you might adjust. Your bottom's up in the air. Even here, if you want to take on board yoga in its purest form, you would engage your perineum inwards and upwards. Everything would be, your tummy would slightly come in. But whether you do that or not, it's up to you. And you can slightly just sway your bottom a few millimetres from side to side. It's a very hot day, so this is a very gentle form. But if you wanted to further stretch into your upper back, you could just extend your hands in front of you and put your forehead on the ground, which is a bigger stretch. Or your elbows can come off the ground. But again, that's all optional. And you'll feel this in the lower back as an opening more as well. But again, it's entirely up to you. And then just very, very gently coming back to tabletop. And moving the hands to the left to give your right foot space to come up. Feel that you can take support under your left knee and feel that you can move your right foot out to the right more. Lift and roll your shoulders. Come into cactus arms. This opens the shoulders here, so that's part of your lung meridian. And you can look straight ahead. The second you start to look up, your balance might go, but equally you can look up if you want to. And optionally you can stay here, or you can raise your hands up, looking either up or straight ahead, whatever works for you. And this becomes a variation, it's crescent moon. Stretching up, you can almost stretch into a slight back bend. And then breathing out, bring your hands back down to either side of your front right foot. Keep your left hand where it is and place your right hand on your right waist and turning to look to the right. You can look straight ahead, or you can look up, or you can look down. Just feel that you're opening the right shoulder here as you turn to the right. And then very gently bring your hands back to either side of your front right foot. And you can slide your right foot slightly out and bring your bottom slightly back just to stretch out the right leg, right toes up to the ceiling. You can massage with your left hand underneath your right leg. You can use your left hand to just pull your right toes back, that will stretch you even more. And then bring your hands to either side of your right foot. Slide your right foot back so that you're back to kneeling, and just gently sway your bottom from side to side, back to that fish, as you're just creating a very natural movement, almost like an S, the fish looks when it swirls. If you think about it, you don't do it, but if you just do it naturally, it seems to be quite intuitive. And then your hands to the right to bring your left foot up. Hands either side of your left foot, just stretch maybe into the left hip. And then the left foot optionally can go out a little bit more to the left. You can use your hands to walk them up the left shin to come to your cactus arms.
Again, looking ahead or looking up, whichever you prefer. And then option to raise your arms higher into crescent moon. You can even bring your hands together, that's stronger. You might prefer not to do that. Just have your hands apart, looking, as I said, ahead or up. Your crescent moon, you'll feel this opening on the right side of the hip at the front. So breathing out, bring your hands back to either side of your front left foot, and either on your right fingertips to the inside of your right foot or on your palm, place your left hand on the left waist and just open out to the left, looking either up or straight ahead or whatever works for you. It's a rotation. You can then go to the next stage, lifting your hand up. I'm quite stiff in the shoulders, so I find that compromises my movement slightly, but it's the next stage along. And the third stage along, if you feel like being challenged, which I'm not sure if I do, is to lift up your knees, either resting your hand on the hip or your hand up. But either way, come to bring your right knee back to the ground. Come back to tabletop by sliding your left leg so that you're in tabletop again, and then just once more sway from side to side. And then tuck your toes. We're going to come to standing, so come to standing however suits you. You can come via downward dog, or you can just come to rolling straight up. We're not going to stay up for very long. Rolling vertebra by vertebra up to standing. Take your time, because particularly when it's hot, the blood or fluid's got to get up to the brain, and it doesn't necessarily always do that. So just a little bit from side to side. And come to step your feet out into a triangle. Your toes, I like my toes straight, or my heels out slightly, but that might just be me. Come to being comfortable. And soften your knees as you go from side to side. You can rest your hands onto your upper thighs. And then coming forward, placing your hands on the floor. Now, to get comfortable, depending on how long your legs are, you might want to bring your feet slightly wider. And then walk your left hand towards your right foot. You can hold your right shin, right outer calf with your left hand. And then your right hand goes on your right waist. Again, turning to the right. You can raise your hand, right hand, or you can just keep it on the waist. And then walk your hands to the centre. And this time walk them over to the left. And place your right hand on your left shin stroke calf and your left hand on your left waist, opening out to the left. You can look up or look down or straight ahead, and optionally raise the left hand up. Come back to the centre, place your hands on the ground and just sway from side to side. So you're bending one knee and then bending the other knee. And then come to the centre and heel toe the feet in. So the toes go in, heels go in. And you do that until they're comfortably hip width apart. And then bend your knees and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Raise your arms, thumbs together, and just carry on the swaying as you shift slightly weight from one foot to the other. This is swaying pole, but it's very much working on the vata element. So any aches or pains is the vata element being slightly out of balance. And so this strange exercise is balancing that. And then just very gently come to the centre, lower your arms, and then come back with hands apart, come down to the ground, and come to seated with your legs out in front of you. in quite a nice V. Just bounce your feet on the ground. Coming into placing your hands, they can be anywhere, but just placing your hands and lifting the chest, looking with the eyes upwards. Your chin can lift with control. And again, this becomes a mindfulness exercise. Lifting at the chest is very uplifting for the mood. But then very gently bring your head to the centre. Turn to face your left outstretched leg, raising your hands as an option, and then bending your elbows to help your back as you slide your hands either down your left shin or either side of your left foot. Again, that's your choice. There's no big stretching or pulling here, it's just a gentle forward bend. You can have a sense of lengthening on your spine as you breathe in and just relaxing forward as you breathe out. You might find that your hands go down slightly more. You might find that you can hold your feet. Wherever works for you is absolutely fine. Have a sense of the back of the neck being long. Which allows the blood to go from through the neck up to the top of the head. And then very gently walk your hands up your left leg. Just move your legs and maybe massage up and down your legs. Lengthen your body and turn to the other side as you raise your hands up. Turn to the right outstretched leg and come to slide your hands down the right leg. Your heels ideally are extended and your toes are up to the ceiling if you're being very strict. And again, the same thing here, no striving or straining, just to where you naturally fall. And you might find that you just come down a little bit further. And then very gently slide your hands up and then bring your feet together more. And then this is just a relaxed sliding forward over your front legs. Same action, but you're just more central. And then very gently slide your hands up your legs, bend your knees and come to lying, perhaps with your knees bent. Or you can come to a full Shavasana, whichever you prefer. If you keep your knees bent, they could perhaps touch each other in constructive rest. Your hands, however works for you, on your abdomen, out by the side of you. Just very gently roll your head, turning it to one side and then to the other. Just freeing off your neck. Where you're lying, just bring your fingertips. They will come probably to the solar plexus, slightly lower down than the chest. And breathing in, open your fingers out to the side, your elbows stay on the ground. And breathing out, bring your fingertips back to the solar plexus. It'll be just the lower part of the chest. Breathing in, the elbows stay on the ground, the fingers just open out to the side. You'll feel the air just tracing through in between the fingers. And carry on, just breathing in for a few more breaths, opening your fingers. And breathing out, you'll just feel the air go through them. Air is a sense of touch that relates and correlates to the heart. So if anybody who's had any heart issues, this is brilliant because the more you open your arms to the side, your body's being supported, but the opening of the arms is actually stretching the muscles like pericardium. It's called the pericardium muscle. But this is the most gentle and safe movement for heart health. It links here, of course, to respiratory. And it becomes also a moving meditation as well as a breathwork exercise. The body's heavy on the ground, but you are actually stretching the muscles all across the chest, but in such a gentle way. I did some specialist heart training up in London. It connected me also to respiratory for people who'd had surgery on their hearts, and going forward it was connected into one of the hospitals. It was really interesting, just how gentle movement can be so helpful. And then make the next one the last one, bringing the fingers to rest back down onto the solar plexus level. Just check that your feet are relaxed, your heels and ankles, your knees, that your hips are heavy, resting on the ground. Your shoulders are away from your ears. And just once more connect to the head as you turn the head from side to side. And bring your attention to the base of your nostrils and be aware as the air comes in through the nostrils, and trace that almost to an imaginary point in the centre of your head. And breathing out, just let the air travel back down through, coming out through the nostrils again, out to the ether. And as you breathe in again to a point at the centre of your head, you can begin to put anything you don't want into that out breath as it comes out through the nostrils again. Now this time as you breathe in through the nostrils to a point at the centre of the head, breathing out, but breathe out through the body, all the way down through the body, putting into anything you don't want, any pains or niggles or thoughts, and let them leave through the soles of the feet. And again, breathing in through the nostrils to a point at the centre of the head, and breathing out all the way down, leaving through the feet. And take a moment to have a thought for the day. It can be for you or for anybody else. That person can be with us or not with us. Or whatever your thought is, to wish whoever, yourself or whoever, whatever your thought is, then just let that thought drift away, your intention's been set. And then just choose a colour that resonates with you today. It can be absolutely any colour. And like cotton wool, imagine yourself wrapping yourself like a cocoon of your coloured air, like candy floss, wrapping and cocooning you for the rest of the day. And just then bringing your, will be lifting your elbows off to bring your palms together and bring the thumbs to your third eye. To finish the class, to have a lovely day ahead and to thank you very much for joining me today. And then gradually, you can stay here of course, but otherwise gradually roll, taking your time to one side and coming up to a seated position. But take your time when it's hot, but the fluids have got to rebalance. Or stay where you are. And thank you very much.